Hello and welcome back to Far Beyond the World. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after they had a talk with the Magistrate, and it went well, despite the fact that Caelan had to reveal some very important information that Ranok was like, oh no, that information that he wasn't supposed to know, but obviously the Magistrate knew already, so, there was no point in hiding it. He was just taunting Ranok to see whether or not he would tell them, or him, I mean, what was going on. Thankfully, it all went well, which, is very surprising, but, whatever. It went well. So, now we get to Ranok's little surprise. Obviously, we know what's gonna happen, because, you can't go to Strambard, the town with the famous inn, and, not visit the famous inn. So, yeah. Oh, and this episode actually has a little special musical number, which I hope isn't copyrighted. And, yeah. uh, some stuff will be revealed that, should have become obvious to Ranok a long time ago, but apparently he's that just, thick-headed that he hasn't figured out what's going on yet. And yeah. So, yeah, without further ado, let's continue. Well, actually, let's finish off chapter 13. Once we step out onto the vibrant streets, I sigh and relax, simply relishing the afternoon stroll. Although I do like Turnen, being in a lively place such as this tugs at my long-lost memories. It feels right to be here, regardless how badly Ranok might not enjoy it. Seeing that the wolf continues to sulk, I look to him with an apologetic smile. Look, I'm sorry if you're not happy about the way this went down, but diplomacy requires tact, something your people clearly lack if what the Magistrate said is true. Exactly. You'll trust the word of a tiger over my own? Your word is neither here nor there, as you didn't witness what happened. From what the Magistrate says, Vithrier's stay in Strambard wasn't as successful as we were led to believe. Vithrier is my father's advisor for a reason. He mutters defensively and I nod. Yes, and that begins to rub me the wrong way. He's a trusted friend. He's almost like a second father to me. Ranok continues, slight offense lining his tone. Look, I'm not trying to imply anything. All I'm saying is that there are two sides to the story. I know you dislike the tigers and distrust anything they say, but consider this. Vithrier was here for several years. Why? What did he actually achieve? I don't know. Again, he grumbles in that now recognizable moody fashion whenever he doesn't like the turn our conversation takes. Exactly. Neither did the Magistrate. As he said, the trade embargo was in place for 2 decades, and their relationships didn't improve at all either. In fact, he seems to have much fonder memories of your father than he does of his envoy. The wolf ponders and I regain my hope I might be getting through to him. I rest my hand on his shoulder, tugging at it to add weight to my words. You're going to be a chief one day. You need to be able to look at things from a wider perspective. I'm not saying Vithrier is a bad person, but I don't think he's a good advisor either. And what are you basing this on? His diplomacy, for one. I shrug. It was a farce, and the tribe hasn't changed one bit either. I'm not talking about laws and customs, but look around you. He spent several years here, and he didn't bring any of this back to Turnen. I spread my hands in partial jest, pointing to the bustling town all around us. What? Pretty houses and cobbled streets? Scoff all you like, but yes, the quality of life is immensely different. Your people are being left further and further behind. You said that you wanted to travel the world to see what it has to offer, so that you could become a better chief. Well, he has traveled. Ranok looks at me now more intently, listening carefully to what I have to say. He saw what the world had to offer, and yet, he didn't help your father be better. In fact, the only thing that's gotten better is his purse, while he and the chief drink and smoke their lives away. When you were gone, I had a chance to get out and about. The wolves talk about him almost as if he owned the tribe. He is quite rich. Finally, the wolf's voice betrays a hint of concern. Well, I don't think that was always the case. Something tells me that he got his fortune during the tenure as your father's advisor. You know what? I'll trust your instinct, even if I don't agree with it. He looks at me with a wavering smile. When we get back, I'll look into this, I promise. But subtly. I cheese and Ranok rolls his eyes. Of course, subtly. I'm not about to poke a hornet's nest. No wolf likes when others sniff around their business. No more so than Vithrir. But enough of that. Now I'd like us to unwind before what comes next. He waves his paw and I laugh in agreement. Well, this was a day and a half. I yawn, stretching myself idly as we stroll down one of the streets leading away from the town hall. Indeed. The wolf nods, looking at me with a growing humor. You've earned another treat. And an apology. I scoff teasingly, bumping into his shoulder. I'm gonna grab that tongue and shove it back into your mouth. Don't bleep at me. Told you I would come in handy. That you did. The wolf laughs, and I can't help but puff my cheeks in feigned annoyance. Your Tigiri is awful. I hope you know that. My apologies then, my lord, for being born in the sticks. He takes a deep, exaggerated bow, and I nudge him in his rump, causing the wolf to run a few paces forward to avoid falling flat on his muzzle. Dickhead. I call out as we both chuckle in amusement. So, where are we headed? To the Stranded Bard Inn. Really? I nearly gasp out of excitement. And they'll let us in? I thought you said that this was like a pilgrimage site for bards. Very hard to get into. It is, but it's also an inn. He shrugs coyly and I feel slightly suspicious, but for now, I won't read too much into it. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to hear someone sing. Yeah, you think you would, until you will. Then you do anything for them to shut up. The wolf snickers and I shake my head. Be nice, don't ruin this for me. Right this way. He waves his paw, making me follow him into one of the side paths leading away from the main road. At first I'm confused, but I brush it off as Ranok finding some sort of shortcut from the main square leading through several blocks of townhouses. I enjoy this little detour as we're both out of the sun into the pleasantly cool shade, but also I get to admire the backyards of those amazingly old-timey buildings. They're tall, 3 or even 4 stories high, with their wooden frames climbing high like giant ladders. It's all so fantastic, almost as if from a fairy tale. Then again, everything so far seems like a damn fairy tale. In one of the courtyards, we pass a group of tiny tiger cubs playing around an open well. They collect small pebbles and drop them down, listening to hear the plume of the water once the stone hits its surface, each time jumping up and down with cheer. I chuckle at this innocent sight, and that's what draws their attention. At first they seem wary seeing Ranok, most likely scared both of his size and his massive sword, but once they see me, their expression changes to that of awe and curiosity. It's a human? A human? What's that? The little murmurs echo against the towering walls of the townhouses, and I shake my head in amusement. We come to a stop when a little tiger girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, approaches a few steps and fidgets on her cute little paws. Hey mister, my friend says you're a human? Is that true? I smile at her kindly, looking back to Ranok's confused muzzle, and then back to her inquisitive eyes. Why, yes I am. Why do you ask? Because humans are magic, like the elfkin. Elfkin? I chuckle, taking a step in her direction when one of her large boys walks up to her and pushes her back in a protective manner. They're not magic, they're just rare, and we shouldn't talk to strangers. I nod in agreement. He's right on both matters. Come to think of it, you shouldn't be playing around in an open well either. We're not jumping into it. The brave little tiger puffs up his chest in annoyance, and I cannot help but melt at how cute his little belligerent muzzle looks. We're just throwing stones in. To hear the water slosh. I take a guess, but the entire group laughs at me as if I said the darndest of things. No, silly, to make a wish. You must have a lot of wishes then. I muse teasingly, to which the girl only shrugs. What do you wish for? We can't tell, otherwise it won't come true. Fair enough. Mind if I make a wish then? I ask, causing the kids to exchange worried gazes. At first they appear reluctant, but eventually one of the cubs in the back speaks up. I think it would help to have a magical human's wishing stone in there. He's not magic. The largest of the kids protests, but the girl next to him marches up to me and takes a hold of my hand to everyone's surprise. Magic or not, you said that they're rare. He must be lonely, so he needs all the wishes he can get. Her bluntness causes me to choke in amusement, but I'm also incredibly touched. She marches up to the well and then points at the gravel around it. You must find a wishing stone. Then think the wish really, really hard before you drop it in. And which one is the wishing stone? I ask, looking at the various pebbles littering the ground. You will know. She shrugs and I smile, beginning my quest for a wish. I might be diligent to humor the child, but at the same time I also want to find a pretty stone for my own sentiment. Eventually, I spot a nice round white pebble. That's a good one. The little girl nods approvingly. How do you know? I just do. Again, she shrugs. I must admit, I love her moxie. I straighten up and squeeze the stone in the palm of my hand, taking a deep breath. I do so theatrically, as I know all the cubs are watching, but at the same time, what if? I wish that Ranok stopped hiding things from me. I wish that he finally started to see me as an asset, not a liability. And off the stone goes, as everyone holds their breath. A few seconds later, a soft plume draws the previous cheers from the kids, and they all dance around. Caelan. Ranok softly calls out my pup name, and the cubs fall silent, looking to him with worry. It's quite alright, he's a good wolf, but I do have to go. I ruffle the little girl's hair and proceed to walk away. Thank you for the wish. Bye! Having a human wish is almost like having an elf wish. Now the well is bound to work. Shut up, you idiot. They continue their previous game and I laugh, following Ranok out of the maze of backyards. He seems quite taken by the ease with which I interact with strangers, and his gentle smile and subtle tail wags are a reward in and of themselves. Eventually, we step out of the shadowy alleyways into a decoratively cobbled opening. A small square surrounding the Epidamus Inn is quite cozy, with the richly adorned townhouses almost hugging the sprawling structure. The inn is big, much bigger than I expected, with various additions stacking up onto it like a layered cake. Damn, this place is huge. That's what happens when a building is famous for nearly 1,000 years. Ranok muses with satisfaction, taking in my glee and amazement. Is it really that old? Well, the establishment at least, not the building itself. The wolf shrugs. If I remember correctly, Vittoria said that it was rebuilt several times and expanded. For sure. I nod, noticing different parts that show a distinct shift of style and brickwork over the ages. But wow, I just love it. I jump with joy and we walk up towards the main entryway. A massive sign, the Stranded Bard, hangs up above, while the portico bears an inscription, Come you weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest. It almost feels like approaching a sanctuary of sorts. The place is so crowded that the patrons spill out onto the surrounding square, drinking at the outside tables. The weather is nice enough to allow it, and it doesn't seem like a bad alternative, but Ranok is bent on getting inside. That's when we're met with a large tigress with a bosom for days, barring the entrance. We want in. The wolf states coldly, but she just shakes her head. I'm sorry, good sirs, we're at capacity. We have 2 traveling minstrels with us, and the guests have been crowding in since last week. It's good, we sit. Ranok mutters to her utter frustration. No, sir, the point is, there is nowhere for you to sit. You can take a spot on one of the outside benches when and if it frees up. She points to the outdoor space, and I'm almost inclined to agree. It is a nice day. But Ranok persists. Out no good, we sit in. The female simply rolls her eyes and sighs heavily, and I place a hand on the wolf's shoulder, but he brushes it off gently. Barkeep! Sir, I have told you that there is no room. Barkeep! He insists, forcing the tigress to look to me in annoyance. Could you please explain to your master? He's not my master. I'm really tired of this slave bullshit. Ugh, companion then. That we don't have any room left? I nod and turn to face the wolf. She said... I know what she said. Tell her to get the barkeep. I look to him in slight discomfort. Are we really going to pull the most classical Karen movement? We are, aren't we? I sigh in defeat and do as asked. Ma'am, could we please speak to the owner? I roll my eyes internally, and give me the number for corporate while you're at it. Unsurprisingly, the female doesn't budge. I'm sorry, sir, but we're full of truly. The tigress continues in a growingly desperate tone until she's finally shooed away from the doorway by a rather short, round male. Walk away, you dumb girl. Can't you see that this is no ordinary guest? He calls out in an angered voice, to the female's utter confusion. But... forgive us, Lord Ranok. All this girl is good for is having her enormous udders milked, like the daft cow she is. The male bows deeply, inviting us in. This way, come! He insists merrily and struts down the main hall. I look to Ranok in confusion as he gives a satisfied, smug smile towards the puzzled waitress, and we proceed inside. That was interesting. When you visit with the Magistrate, especially unannounced, with a chest full of gold, the word spreads. Maybe. His cheeky grin does not dissipate while I finally take a glance across the inn proper. It's an enormous structure composed of various nooks and annexes surrounding the central temple dedicated to Cheer, a massive hall enclosed by two-story colonnades supporting the upper gallery and ending at an open stage. The place is packed to the brim, with every table occupied by creatures of various origins. If the city seemed diverse, the Stranded Bard is a cosmopolitan world in its own right, perhaps even the city's beating heart. There's huskies, which I only distinguish from the wolves by their curled-up tails. There's also lynxes and lions, and at least a few leopards, all drinking and making merry together like one big family. This place is something else entirely. It doesn't look like they need our business, and we're not going to be returning customers, not anytime soon at least. I mutter as we make our way to the back of the hall. Why make an exception? They might not need our coin, but they need prestige. Having nobles and dignitaries stay here makes this place stand out above all others. Ranok winks and I look at him with a smile. He's full of surprises. He might act brash at times, but all in all, he's not a dummy. Here we are! The barkeep bows gracefully while unfurling a long napkin from behind his apron. He uses it to brush the table in a small alcove, while pulling away curtains which conceal it from the rest of the building. I have prepared a spot, just like you requested, intimate yet still part of the main hall. Perfect, much think. It's hard not to smile at his Tigeri, but seeing as how it does not faze the barkeep, I decide to act like a grown-up and ignore it as well. No, my lord, it is I who should thank you. Our host takes another deep bow and rushes off. Ranok seats himself immediately while I'm starting to suspect that this wasn't really a gamble on his part. You planned this ahead, didn't you? You really think I would have left our visit at the famous inn to chance? I suppose not. I may have bribed the barkeep last night to reserve us a spot. I was right then. Cheeky. As I'm about to continue, another waitress approaches us, but her expression shows she's not too pleased. What do you want? She throws impolitely at Ranok, and I see his ears fold in slight annoyance. Meal and wine. Ale is most you can afford. The female exhales dismissively, shifting her weight to one leg and giving me a rather disgusted look. Do you even speak? Better than you. I scoff, quite surprised by her off-putting attitude. What are you doing? The barkeep returns, aghast that she's talking with us. He's holding in his paws a large, fully lit candelabra and plops it in the center of our table. It's just a wolf and his slave. She brushes her paw in our direction, and the male squares off with her. Be silent, woman, or you'll find yourself without a job. Didn't you not see that I ushered them in personally? Go away and find yourself some pots to scrub. He commands, and the female walks off with the same sassy attitude she came towards us. I don't expect that she'll be working here long. The barkeep folds his hands together apologetically and bows as deeply as his back will allow him. Please forgive me. She's new. It's been quite a rush these past few weeks, and I simply had to take on more staff. Some might not be as cut out for the work here, though. She's by no means what Strandbard stands for. We're open to every wary traveler, no matter the species or the depth of their pocket. It's very reassuring to hear you say that. I smile, looking back to Ranok, who doesn't seem much bothered by the incident. We want meal and wine if can. Excellent. The barkeep claps his paws merrily. we just have a most succulent of roasts finishing. It's practically melting off the spit. Good. Wine. Very good. Lots of coin. Oh, I wouldn't presume to impose too high a price. Lots of coin. Ranok insists, and I must admit that I'm enjoying the way he's spoiling me lately. Arc wine then. I have a few bottles of excellent quality straight from Link's Terra. I'm told the very same is served at the palace in Tigeron to the Sorcery King himself. The barkeep says with pride, and the wolf nods. Good, we have Sorcery King wine. The male bows deeply once again and rushes off in a good humor, as if he just gotten some great news. I guess the prospect of draining a guest of coin would be count as such. That seems a bit over the top. I mutter worriedly. Considering what I'm heading back into, when will be the next time that I'll get to splurge out like this? And it might be our last meal together. I frown slightly, to which he quickly changes his tune. Might. Besides, you'd be saving me 3 talents if you'd come back with me, no? True, but you've already spent nearly the same amount. At least I'm bankrupting myself on someone who won't throw it back in my muzzle. He nods towards the dress, and although I chuckle, it does feel bad now how Verissa treated such a gift. But I don't want to dwell on it. It's not my place to dictate how she's to act when persistently courted by a crude friend. Didn't take you for a wine drinker. Special occasions call for a special marker. Speaking of special markers, I look around our table, enjoying how remarkable and romantic the setting truly is. A private alcove, candelabras, a delicious meal just for the 2 of us. Should I treat this as a date then? A date? I assume it's your way of saying courtship. He chuckles. I think we're slightly past that point, don't you agree? Yeah, we did skip a few steps. A few? We tore up an entire book on the subject. 2 in fact, 1 for each of our species. Look at you. It seems idioms aren't exactly a foreign language to your kind. No, but your random gibberish is. He teases and we both laugh. In either case, I quite enjoy this. I glide my hand across the table. Dating is very integral to human culture. Again, you mean courtship. I'd say it's pretty integral to any species, really. The wolf shrugs. Potato, potato. You know what I mean. I thought you said that you understood our little arrangement. He gives me a more serious look and I nod to dispel any of his worries. Of course. But that doesn't mean that we can't observe some of the form. Otherwise, what's the point? Are you sure about this? I was the one who proposed it to begin with. I feign annoyance and the wolf rolls his eyes. Very well then, a date it is. That's all I ask for. I give him the tongue, but just as the barkeep returns with a different waitress at his side. This tigress gives us a wide, kind smile as she places our plates in front of us. They're stacked high with roasted vegetables, beautifully browned cuts of meat, and a generous portion of gravy. Oh my, this looks delicious. I rub my hands while licking my lips. And here is the arc wine. The male presents a very fancy-looking bottle with engraved grapevine motifs. The glass is tinted dark green, but the liquid inside is clearly visible. Shall I pour? Ranok nods with his mouth full, as he already dug in. In fairness, we've been held at the town hall for quite a while, that I've worked up an appetite as well. We continue with our meal as the stocky male uncorks the bottle and pours the contents into the beautifully etched crystal chalices. Here you go, my lord, and one for the young master. I'm not sure if it's the candlelight or the crystal, but the wine seems almost iridescent, shimmering with different hues of red, depending on how you look at it. Do not hesitate to ask for anything. He takes a bow and Ranok nods, dismissing him with a gesture of his paw. Once we are left alone, I lean in towards him with amusement. Young master? We're the same age. Your kind tends to look young in our eyes. You're bald like unweaned pups. He muses while scooping a big portion of mash and graving into his muzzle. I guess. I shrug, taking hold of my glass and bopping it towards the wolf. Slanche. Slanche. Ranok responds and we clink the chalices merrily with the ring of a resonating song. As I take a sip of the tantalizing wine, at first it feels like any other vintage. A bit sweet, bit sour, but then it tingles all over, almost like champagne. But there are no bubbles, and the tingling doesn't limit to the tongue itself. It spreads down the throat, to the belly, and then radiates across the entire body through my veins. It almost feels like 1,000 gentle kisses being placed onto my naked skin, and I cannot help but gasp in mild embarrassment. Holy shit. Yeah. The wolf looks equally perplexed as I am. Tastes great, but... yeah. He nods and we both take cautious glances towards the bottle. Is this spiked or something? I have no fucking clue. I take a reluctant sniff of the chalice, and even the smell of the wine feels intoxicating, almost as if it's called out to me, begging to be drunk. Yeah, this is spooky. Sorry. I wave towards the hall where the barkeep scrutinies his staff. He quickly notices me and rushes to our side. Yes, everything's alright? Perfect. It's just... I pause, looking to Ranok with worry, to which the wolf gives me an encouraging nod. I don't want to sound rude, but what's in this wine? Is it off? I'm terribly sorry. The male concludes apologetically, but I shake my head. No, actually, we wouldn't know. Would you care to try it? I offer him my glass and the tiger takes it without a hint of hesitation. Most certainly, I'd be honored to. We both watch intently as he takes a deep sip, but to our surprise, there's no reaction. Tastes delectable. One of the best vintages I've ever had. Oh. I'm not disputing that. I think we're both in agreement it's delicious, but... Again, I look to the wolf, and this time Ranok only shrugs in defeat. But? Don't you feel... tingly? Odd? I slowly realize how dumb this really sounds, but to my surprise the barkeep has a light bulb moment and simply laughs. Oh! I understand. Master's never had arc wine before? No, I can't say we have. It is an enchanted wine, he states, flicking his fingers at one of the passing waitresses. Enchanted? Yes, enchanted, he reiterates, passing the glass to a girl who responds to his summon. Take it and bring back a clean one. You won't have our guests drink after me, he commands, not breaking eye contact with our table, and the tigress nods while he continues answering my question. The land of Link's Terra is saturated with raw arcane. It causes their fruit to contain quite a lot of it. The Lynx also refined the process of making the magic much more potent during fermentation. I look to him with utter confusion and fascination, unable to comprehend what he's actually saying. But, what does it do? Not much, really. The tiger shrugs anticlimactically. Just a flavor enhancer, I suppose. The tingly sensation is just a release of the arcane into your body, like a diluted mana potion. A mana potion? I gasp. Have we slipped into a role-playing game? Well, it would be lethal for us ordinary folks to ingest mana potion, but the wine has similar properties. It increases focus, intelligence, and regeneration. Some supposedly can perform small conjurer tricks as well, but I've yet to see that. He laughs it off casually while I struggle to contain amazement in my expression. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry if we sound ignorant. This might be wasted on us. I nod towards the bottle, but the tiger shakes his head. No experience is a bad experience, I say. Oh, bit of advice. Depending on your exposure, it can cause a faint glow in the eyes. But that's nothing to worry about. Usually it wears off after a few hours. And here's your new glass, he adds with satisfaction, placing it in front of me once the waitress returns with his query. Many thanks. I smile as the barkeep leaves us to our own devices. Well, that was weird. Did you follow any of that? Halfway. Sounds like a spiked wine to me. Ranok shrugs indifferently while taking hold of my cup. He refills it up and encourages me to drink with another toast. We clink the glasses and take another sip, shivering as the tingling in our veins resumes. It's quite tasty, though. And very expensive, so we better make the best of it, glowing eyes and all. He laughs and we continue with our meal. I must admit, it's nice to unwind like this. The scenery is very much reminiscent of the feasting grounds, however, it's also more private. I hadn't realized how much I needed to have a dinner like this with Ranok, just the two of us without the constant vigil of others. And it seems the wolf very much enjoys this as well. So much so that every now and then he rubs my legs with his hind paw, sneaking discreet touches between each bite. Eventually I muster the courage and simply place my hand on top of his, looking lovingly in his eyes. At first he's surprised, but realizing that no one is paying us any mind, he grasps it and we're now effectively holding hands. The music plays on for a while, and we just enjoy our company, chatting and joking, while also taking in the setting. The stranded bard proved to be all that it was promised and more. It's lively, cheery, and clearly the epicenter of this bustling community. There's a sense of camaraderie in the air that crosses the cultural and racial divides. I'm falling in love with this place as much as I fell in love with that wolf. The only thing missing is the songs. That's when my attention drifts to the stage, where a handsome-looking lion takes his seat, tuning his lute. Ask and you shall receive, I chuckle at the timing. Although the conversation continues, they're now more hushed in clear anticipation. Eventually the lion caresses the strings and a soothing yet somewhat solemn tune fills the room. It's very much akin to a lullaby, and it casts a spell on everyone, giving his melodic voice an uncontested domain over the entire tavern. Gather round the twinkling fire of this here hearth, let me tell you a grand tale of two broken hearts. Once there was a mighty king, and he had a son, both in love with an outsider, thus our tale begun. She was an outstanding woman everyone adored, from a lowly country peasant to the highest lord. To her motives many claim that she was pure of heart, but deception, as they say, is the oldest form of art. Although many enjoyed the song, some began to frown, or even return to their prior arrangements with subdued murmurs and chatter slowly ringing in the back. The prince came pleading and then begging, swallowing his pride. He would give her all she asked for if she were his bride. In spite of his valiant efforts, she seemed not too keen. Why settle as a lonely princess when one can be a queen? The king was old, wise, and gentle. He caught both her eyes. Father-son rift now forms until one of them dies. The prince has challenged our good king to an honor-bound duel, unbeknownst that love has turned his father's soft paw cruel. The king had his son's red wine poisoned just before the fight. The prince was strong. It took much longer for the poison to bite. The youth will always trump old age. The king now lies slain, but its venom does its trick, and the prince has won in vain. What sort of song is this? Is it historical? I mean, he sings it beautifully, but he's clearly not reading the room. All the learned men and the couriers look for someone to blame. The queen finds herself in a dark cell. There she would know pain. Accused of witchcraft, there was no doubt. Evil witch would hang. Not soon after her noose snapped, the war cries would be sung. Empty thrones bewitched much harder than the wickedest of spells. Now the country's whole on fire, akin to burning hells. You might ask, what madness drove them to this folly and treason? Answer here is plain and simple. Love is the death of all reason. Love is the death of all reason. As much as I don't want to, I echo the confusion and awkwardness of the gathered. This place used to be like a fairground, but now it's more akin to a graveyard. Not to mention, I don't think I vibe with the message either. Of course, there were a few who enjoyed his performance, subdued applause lost in the echoes of this vast hall, but the reaction of the majority is pretty similar to when someone farts in an elevator. I can almost feel the secondhand embarrassment. That's when a slow clap can be heard from the little niche next to a stage. A flamboyant-looking cat holding a lyre underneath his arm approaches and takes a shallow dip. Beautiful sang, my friend, no doubt about that, he says in a somewhat funny accent. But I thought it was an inn, not a mausoleum. Why bring down the mood of our generous patrons who came here to forget the sorrows of their dreary lives? The cat asks with a taunting tone and quite a few cheer, raising up their mugs in agreement. Where I come from, the bard's duty is to both entertain and educate. Then I suggest you return to where you come from, my friend. Why inflict your foreign sensitivities on these kind folks? Another bout of applause fills the main hall, and I have to agree with the cat, despite his uncouth go back where you come from jab. I mean, the line almost asks for it. There's nothing wrong with lessons in history. Aye, but it doesn't mean that they have to be so morose. The cat steps onto the stage and finally grasps his lyre appropriately. But if a lessons in history you want, then I shall gladly oblige. I'm sure this is a tune every kin in Avalon knows by heart. He states confidently, and the moment he strikes his first few chords, a great many patrons raise their mugs in cheer and laughter, recognizing the song that's about to commence. Even the innkeeper chuckles merrily, while I find myself bopping slightly to the much livelier rhythm of this new song.
Time ago, way back in history, when all there was to drink was nothing but cups of tea. Along came a kin by the name of Charlie Mops, and he invented a wonderful drink and he made it out of hops. He must have been an emperor, a sultan, or a king, and to his praises we shall always sing. And look what he has done for us, he's filled us up with cheer. Life bless Charlie Mops, the kin who invented beer, 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 truly beer, beer, beer. The stranded bard, the journeys, and the royal inn as well. One thing you can be sure of, it's Charlie's beer they sell. So all ye lads and lasses, at 11 o'clock you stop. For 5 short seconds, remember Charlie Mops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey! He must have been an emperor, a sultan, or a king, and to his praises we shall always sing. And look what he has done for us, he's filled us up with cheer. Life bless Charlie Mops, the kid who invented beer, 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 truly beer, beer, beer. A bushel of hops, a barrel of malt, you stir it around with a stick. That's sort of lubrication to make your engine tick. 40 pints of wallop a day will keep away the quacks. It's only 8 pence a pot and 1 per 6 in tax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey! He must have been an emperor, a sultan, or a king, and to his praises we shall always sing. And look what he has done for us, he's filled us up with cheer. Life bless Charlie Mops, the king who invented beer, 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 truly beer, beer, beer. All the kin love their trinkets, now that we know is true. But try to take their beer, and they will run you through. In Avalon Hole they drink to Charlie day and night. And to such one toast, my friends, I now heartily invite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey! He must have been an emperor, a sultan, or a king, and to his praises we shall always sing. And look what he has done for us, he's filled us up with cheer. Life bless Charlie Mops, the kid who invented beer, 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 truly beer, 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 truly beer, beer, beer. Life bless Charlie Mops.
Everyone stomps in applause, clinking their mugs in merriment. I can't deny that the cat knows what he's doing. He brought everyone to their feet. Not even halfway through the first line, most of the tavern joined in and down his sweet voice in a thunderous chorus. Damn. I exhale in amusement and rise up to my feet, clapping along with the rest of the gathered. The bard takes a gracious bow, humbly sweeping his hat in front of the crowd, and the coins begin to rain. Everyone is taken in by his beautiful voice, wit, and charm, and look to Ranok, who's somewhat uninterested. That was amazing. He's rather good, don't you think? Had a hard time understanding what either of them were singing. Oh, cheer up. I poke him teasingly, and he lightens up surprisingly fast. I don't suppose that you have a coin to spare? Doesn't have to be much. The wolf flicks to me a copper penny, and I grasp it, deciding to bring it to the cat personally. I approach him as the bard collects his pay from the floor and stashes it into his hat. I'm sorry if it's not much. I just wanted to give you my appreciation, really. You sang beautifully. I mutter as he pushes the hat in my direction without breaking eye contact with the coins littering the floor. I shrug and decide to drop mine in. As it clinks with the others, he pulls back the hat and continues collecting his spoils. Every little bit counts, and it's not like I've invented the song. It's been around for much longer than anyone can remember. I don't think it matters. What matters is showmanship, and you lifted up everyone from their seats. Ha! Spoken like a true He cuts off. He finally comes to face me, and his expression turns to confusion. You speak feline, good sir? Pardon me? My word, with Gantbury accent as well. Uncanny. Oh shit, here we go again. How long did you live there? Lived where? Gantbury. I would recognize a fellow Gantian anywhere. You have me mistaken, sir. I've never been in those parts. I mumble awkwardly. He's the first otherkin in this damn town that this happened with. I suppose it's because he's foreign. Huh. How odd. So, whereabouts did you live in Felinus? Nowhere. I meant the country as a whole. I've never stepped a foot inside your borders. Remarkable. You're an interesting person, good sir. I wonder if you'd do me the honor of sharing a drink with me. Shit. I look back at my table where Ranok is sitting, awaiting my return. I see you're engaged with one of those elusive woven folk. The cat croons, noticing where my gaze has ventured. Which makes you even more intriguing, in all honesty. Please do me this favor as a token of your appreciation. He states pleadingly, picking up one of the coins from his hat. I shall buy us all around, so we can drink to Charlie Mop, eh? What do you say? To Charlie Mop, then. The cat quickly folds his hat like a purse and follows behind. What is he doing here? The wolf mumbles uncomfortably, seeing the cat take a seat beside him. Be nice, Ranok, he just wanted to join us at the table for a single drink. You really are like fire to the moths. The wolf grumbles, but I know he's not meaning it in a bad way. Yes, gods, you're fluent in woven too. This evening keeps on getting better and better. He looks around and waves towards one of the waitresses. Love, could I borrow you a moment? The plump tigress walks over to us and nods her head. Sure thing, what can I do you for? I'll have a round of your best ale. You do drink ale, right? Yes. I nod to him, but then face the waitress. Although, if it's not too much trouble, my woven companion likes to drink dark and robust brews. Ah, so you like the stout then? There's not much of a price difference. I'll charge you the same, cutie. Gotta keep that wonderful throat of yours well lubricated. The tigress winks to the bard and rushes off, while the cat gives me a wide smile. So you've mastered Tigiri as well. My, you must have one heck of a story to tell. Not really. In fact, my whole life story lasts barely over 2 weeks. And most of it was getting stabbed, house chores, and making sausage. The plot thickens, and you claim not to be interesting. Wait, this isn't Tigiri. You speak with him in cat tongue? Ranok shakes his head in confusion and looks to me rather startled. Fuck, didn't realize this was a multilingual three-way. Oh gosh. Is there a problem? No, everything's fine. I smile awkwardly, not sure what's actually going on. Oh, what's this? The cat's nose twitch ever so slightly, and I can see his pupils shrink to mere lines as he centers on the elaborate bottle. My, something smells quite alluring. Oh, it's arc wine. Would you like to try it? I propose, to which the two black lines expand and shift to me. Really? That's such a royal treat. He twinkles his fingers. A proper form would dictate I refuse. But darn it, I can't deny I always wanted to try it. That's fine. Shall I have them fetch a cup for you? Way ahead of you, lad. The cat pulls out a flask from underneath his coat and removes the top, doubling as a metal shot glass. He passes it to me and I simply pour him the glimmering arc wine. He licks his lips as he brings the cup towards his muzzle, his whiskers bending forward ever so slightly and his eyes shine with wonder. I smile as the cat takes a reverent sip, followed by a thirstier gulp. By the light! What a delicacy! He shivers all over, drawing a reluctant laugh from me. Now that's the royal treat. Would you like some more? I offer as the cap of his flask is rather small. Again, I would refuse, but I dare not. That's all right. I chuckle, pouring him another round. Just a bit of a warning. Apparently I could cause a faint glow in the eyes. Do you realize that you're talking to a cat? He smirks seductively, holding the brim of his hat down and causing his eyes to glimmer like 2 golden coins. Wow, that's amazing. I gasp, never seeing such a thing before. Unless you count real cats. Real, even thinking that sounds stupid, as I'm staring down the eyes of an actual anthropomorphic feline. Mmm, delicious! He sighs in contentment, downing his share and looking at us with a wide smile. I knew you were people of import. Regular folk do not get private alcoves at the Stranded Bard, nor do they feast on such exquisite vintage. I look to Ranok with bolstered gratitude, as indeed this is an amazing treat he arranged for me. And all that in the middle of the night, right after our little spat. I don't deserve this, wolf. Don't take it the wrong way. I quite enjoy watching you befriend everyone we meet, but I feel rather left out. He mutters awkwardly, and I slap my forehead in embarrassment. Keeping up with those linguistic hijinks is getting really frustrating. Something the matter? The cat darts his gaze between us. My companion only speaks Tigiri. That's not a problem, not at all. I'm happy to switch, it'll make me look less snobbish anyway. He replies without hesitation, and I smile in gratitude. Thank you, you're awfully kind. I think we should stick to Tigiri from now on. You say that, but you keep speaking Vilenian. His expression slightly shifts, and I feel cold sweat dot my body. So I am. I laugh nervously. How about now? Am I still speaking Vilenian? Is this some sort of joke that I am too slow to get? Fuck, this is awkward. I don't really know what to do. What's going on? Ranok notices my anxiety, most likely through my slightly increased heart rate. I don't control the language. What? I keep talking to him in Vilenian. We tried switching to Tigiri, but to no effect. I say in a calm as manner as I can, but despite not understanding our exchange, it's clear that the cat sees something's amiss. Shit, he's a bard. If he finds out that there's something strange about you, he'll never leave us alone. What now? Everything all right? I thought we would speak in Tigiri. The cat finally interrupts, and I feel put on a spot. Not only have I no idea what the hell is going on and how my multilingual ability works, but I feel very much rude speaking in the language in front of either of them. Seeing that I'm pretty much stumped, Ranok places a paw on my hand and says sternly, "Get rid of him." How? He just ordered a round of beer for us. The wolf pulls out a silver coin and flips it to me. Give him that and he'll fuck off. That's a bit rude. I mumble, not very keen on the plan, but the wolf sneers in annoyance. How was that rude? He guzzled expensive wine and now he's getting a whole silver claw for simply sitting down with us. I grimace slightly, knowing full well that there's not much else I can do. Mustering the most polite and apologetic smile that I can, I address the cat. My companion says he's awfully sorry, but we have a long journey and an urgent business to attend to. He's offering this as an apology, as we'll have to tend to our affairs. Ah, well, I'm sorry to intrude. The bard responds abruptly, giving Ranok a less favorable glance. Perhaps he assumes the wolf's being racist, but whatever his reasoning might be, the cat still takes the coin. Please thank your master for his generosity. He's not... I want to correct this wrong assumption, but he interrupts me. I'll be staying here for a few days. A cat of my travels has a keen sense of observation. I always know when I meet people of import, and you, my friend, are such. He states plainly, looking at me with a determined expression. It will mean a great deal to me if you'd consider sitting down to chat another time. I am of no importance, I assure you. Maybe. The cat shrugs. And maybe my senses are right, and I'll be singing about you in years to come. That would be the day. I chuckle. I believe I pegged you right. You have caught the eye of the Jarl as well. He smirks and nods towards the upper part of the inn, but I just brush it away. In any case, I shall leave you be. He bows gracefully and nods towards Ranok. Again, thank your master for his generosity. I decide to ignore his last remark and just let the cat leave in peace. What was that about? The wolf asks as I exhale in frustration. He's rather full of himself. Sounds like someone I know. He winks at me teasingly. I thought you liked them. I did, but then he reminded me way too much of Tano. He's a bard. Being nosy is his profession. And talking in riddles. I scowl, finally looking in the direction he previously nodded towards. What in the world? I gasp out, noticing an entire group of humans sitting on a balcony overlooking the main hall. They're seated comfortably at a large table, getting honorably treated from the staff. They look important. Immediately, one of them, a youth somewhat my age, zooms in on me with an equally surprised expression. What? Ranok blinks, following my gaze to the upper story. When it rains... He smirks, but I shake my head. Not funny. Why are you so troubled? Do you recognize any of them? He asks between each mouthful from his plate. No, but somehow seeing other humans feels weird. I thought I'd never see any of my kind again. Never say never. The wolf flashes his brows and lifts his chalice in a gentle prompt. I grab mine and he clinks them, but before taking a sip, I notice the youth still drilling their gaze into me. He grabs his own goblet and shyly raises it in a long-distance toast. I bop the glass politely and smile, looking back to Ranok. This feels really weird. I thought you would feel relieved. Perhaps we should make an inquiry? They might know something. Like what? Something about your origin? I highly doubt that. I roll my eyes. There's no harm in asking. The wolf picks up a tablecloth and wipes his muzzle before getting up. Where are you going? To see if we could talk. We shouldn't bother them. I protest, grabbing the wolf's wrist. That seems like prime seating. They're important. So are we. We just spoke with the tiger who owns this whole place. He runs it at best. I correct him, still very much tugging out his wrist. Something tells me getting involved with that party upstairs is a bad idea. Or perhaps some part of me worries that there's an actual possibility those humans might recognize me or want to take me in. I fear Ranok would be inclined to leave me in their care in such a scenario. Please, just leave it be. I mutter pleadingly, but his gaze is still locked with the balcony. Thankfully, the waitress from before arrives with our drink order. I sigh in relief, poking the wolf and nodding towards the ale. Anything else I can help you with? Yes, me meet with human on roof. I'm sorry? The female blinks in confusion, darting her gaze towards where Ranok's pointing. Oh, I'm afraid that's not possible, my lord. Oh, why? If en roof, they're a stair. They're dignitaries from the Broken Isles of the Sorcerer King himself. She mutters apologetically. They're on a carefully guided tour. Me just speak to humans, not much time. That area is off limits, and I was strictly instructed to not let them be disturbed. Please forgive me, my lord, but I cannot help you. The female bows deeply, and I pull on Ranok's arm, finally forcing him to sit down. Seriously, it's not worth it. I don't feel like talking to a bunch of strangers. But they might not be strangers. The wolf insists, to which I click my tongue in annoyance. They very much are to me, and if I was someone they lost, they would have already come down to meet us. What do you mean? That kid up there, he's been making eye contact with me for a while now. I nod towards the balcony. Nothing too personal, just the same curiosity that sparked in me. Had he recognized me as one of their own, they'd fetch for me by now. I guess. The wolf sighs in resignation. Can we just enjoy our date without you looking for any chance to dump me? I snigger teasingly and the wolf matches my taunting expression. Fine. He concedes and picks up his mug. But in turn, you have to stop attracting all the strays. He snorts. They keep coming at you like bees to the honey. What can I say? I'm just sweet and irresistible. I wink at him, drawing a happy tail wag, and we clink our mugs. We spend another hour or so finishing our meals and arc wine, simply enjoying each other's company. The cat even performs another song, an upbeat tune about a kin who made booze his lover. It's cheery and serves as a cautionary tale for relying on a substance to solve all their problems. He's undoubtedly proving his calling here, much to the lion's dismay. I make a few sporadic glances exchanges and feign toasts with the youth on the balcony. He seems to feel left out in all the spirited conversation at his table, and I decide to give him some long-distance company. Without words, we seem to be able to exchange our admiration towards the feline, while simultaneously trading frowns when the lion decides to attempt another historical ballad. Some people don't know when to quit. At one point, the youth even pokes a burly and handsome-looking man sitting on his right, pointing in my direction. I receive a rather disinterested nod of acknowledgement, and that is that. Another confirmation that we're not connected in any sort of way. I return to Ranok and exchange our expressions of Strambard thus far. Although still very proud to be Wolf, he struggles and fails to contain some amazement by what we have found here. No matter what anyone would want to say, Strambard is simply mind-blowing, and it is clear that Ranok would want to bring some of it back home. I have no doubt that if there is a new chief, no wolf would be better suited for the job than him. Time flies, and when Ranok finally alerts me that we have to fetch my sandals and retrieve the paperwork, I almost frown. Damn, it feels like we just got here. I hastily empty the last gulp of the arc wine and wipe my face as Ranok gathers our things. There's something undeniably fascinating about going on a shopping expedition with your boyfriend, having him carry said shoppings and take you out to a fine dining. Oh no, am I turning into a mean girl? I chuckle internally as a wolf pays for our table and leads me towards the exit. Ugh, I could stay here forever. I groan, hearing as the sounds of the music and laughter slowly fades behind me. You don't say. Ranok muses teasingly and I snap out of it. Oh, don't you start that again. This was amazing. Thank you so much. I embrace the wolf with little to no restraint. At first, he's surprised and a little bit embarrassed, but noticing that none of the passerbys even raise a brow at us, he relaxes and wraps his arms around me. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it, Moondrop. This was the best date that I've ever been on. Even if it might be the only one. I'm the best alpha and you're the best ward. He winks teasingly. We deserve nothing else. Cheeky. I chuckle, snuggling into his chest. Well, it's almost the 11th hour. We have a decision to make. Oh? I mutter worriedly. Should we spend another night here and depart in the morning, or snag a small bottle of wine for the farmer and depart immediately, spending the night at his? Wait, so you're actually taking me back? I stop in my tracks, pulling away, looking to him with slight disbelief. Well, I can't devise a way to leave you here without me having to worry about your safety. And since you've proven instrumental in securing those trade rights, I doubt Father could muster many arguments against you. What about Vitrir? I cringe slightly, knowing he's the only obstacle we have left. Vitrir has a lot of answering to do, both on account of his mission here and Kor's treatment. He makes displays of utter devotion to her, yet leaves the girl wholly deprived of any financial stability. He's the last person I need to take pointers from. Ranok scoffs, crossing his arms in annoyance. I can't help but smile at his slight shift, but still place my hand on his arm. No point getting all up in his business, but I'm glad that you are developing a backbone. In any case, as much as I love this town, I think we shouldn't tarry. Not only because this mission is urgent, but I also don't want to give you any time to get cold on your feet. I tease, poking him under the ribs, and the wolf snorts, leading us back towards Sloane's workshop. Welcome back, Mr. Future Chief. I assume the diplomatic mission was a failure. You assume wrong. Ranok smiles with satisfaction. My, aren't you full of surprises? I can't take the full credit, though. None, in fact. It was all thanks to him. He bobs his head towards me, and she smiles in amusement. Yeah, that makes more sense. Having a token human urchin when dealing with tigers does give you a pity point. It wasn't just pity. Caelan here is quite the sharp tool. Silver tongue, the magistrate called him. Would you look at that? She gives me a joyful look, but quickly turns around and walks deeper into her workshop. She returns momentarily with our order and bids me to join her inside. Let me show you how it's done. The feline mutters and points to the stool. I sit down and take off my makeshift boots, tossing them to the side. Should I dispose of those for you? Yes, please. I nod eagerly, very keen to be getting some actual footwear. The sandals fit perfectly like snug slippers, and Sloane proceeds to lace the leather straps around my calves. As she does so, I keep sneaking glances towards the cobalt vest on display. It will look good on you, she mutters, noticing my window shopping. We'll take it. Ranok quips, drawing a shocked expression from my face. You don't even know how much it is. It doesn't matter. Ranok shrugs and Sloane laughs. If that's the case, I want 2 talents. Fine by me. I know you wouldn't screw over a fellow wolf. Fellow wolf, you say? She snickers, stopping her task and looking at him challengingly. You're lucky I like you both. Wolves, I charge double. A self-hating can. Ranok raises his brow teasingly, to which she only snorts. A self-serving one for sure. Ah, what the heck? 1.5 of talent, only because you say ambistre like the wee fella. I nearly blushed at the exchange and looked down, watching her finish fastening my sandals. You secure him like so. She demonstrates the bow just beneath the back of my knee. The lace gracefully curves around my calf, and I must say, I feel pretty chic. I jump off the stool and pivot from one leg to another, much to Ranok's approval. I don't get it, but it looks good. The wolf snorts, drawing an amused chuckle from the female. I'm the best for a reason. He gives her a handful of coins that clink in her paw while taking down the vest and presenting it to me. Thank you. I glide my hand across the glistening skin. It's beautiful. Now you have several outfits to change into. If you like, you could use my back room. Sloane points, but I shake my head. Nah, we're still heading into the Magistrate's palace. The tunic seems more appropriate. I'll change at the farmer's place. I say to Ranok, and the wolf nods. Very well. Thank you again for all the work. No problem. Don't forget me, Mr. Future Chief's successful diplomatic mission, when you finally rule. Would love to see some change if you manage to enact it. She teases and Ranok only shakes his head. You'll be the one I bring home first. I'll count on it. Well then, let's get our papers and be on our merry way. I nod and happily skip through the street. Having actual shoes and hearing them softly tap against the cobblestone gives me immense satisfaction. And against all my fears, I'll soon be back home. Back at the cabin in the woods. To be continued. Holy fuck, that took a long time. I'm gonna take a screenshot and then post it when I'm editing the video so that you guys can see how long this lasted. You'll see it in the bottom. Be saved. Anyways, so that was the end of, I guess, chapter 13. So things seem to have taken a turn with the whole, Ranok Caelan situation, where Ranok finally seems, I'm not going to say give up. No, because he didn't give up. He finally saw reason. He finally realized, you know what? Yeah, I guess the human is, he has a point. I can't just leave him here because it'll be dangerous for him. And, he can't just dismiss their relationship either. And, all that other dumb stuff that was, coming up as, they were making their way to Strandbard. My throat hurts really bad. I've been talking for 4 hours straight. Without breaks. And you could probably tell because by now my voice sounds different from when I began. And the voice has just completely changed by the time I got to this point. But yeah, my voice hurts. Anyways, it's all for you a lot that really like Far Beyond the World. And I will admit, I did like this update over the previous ones. And I hope that the reason why this update is the way it is because he listened to, the developer listened to a reason and said, you know what, okay, fine. I won't, write off some of the people's comments. I mean, it could also just be that he had intended this to happen all along, but, Anyways, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments. This is probably going to be split into 3 videos, maybe? Yeah, because usually when I obviously edit out all the bad takes, so it usually shrinks the video sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes only 5 minutes, sometimes 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes. So perhaps this might just end up being 3 videos. Hopefully, because my god, 4 hours. I have to edit those 4 hours now. I'm the only one that does this. Just so you know, so you better appreciate it. Also, I'm using my new mic, so if everything sounds different, It's the mic. Blame the mic. It's a Shure MV7, and that's currently connected through the USB, but eventually I'm going to buy the XLR cables and the interface and all that other stuff, so that quality should improve when I buy the cables. Also, if you hear rumbling in the background when I'm talking, it's the fucking Navy base that I live near. It's like at around 10 a.m. They just started doing their little flying drills, and I fucking hate that so much. A little trivia though, Prince Harry actually went to that Navy base. Anyways, but yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the story. I did like the Magistrate sort of, not being afraid to pick a fight with Ranok. And at the same time, the fact that Caelan was defending him. Like, you didn't actually have to defend him that hard though, mind you. Because he's right. He's basically saying, like, why do I have to help these people that have only ever really used us and have caused so much trouble and hardship and ache for us? And now they're here like, oh, we need help. Can we, trade with you? And he's like, well, why do you want to trade with us, huh? And even though he already knew, he wanted to hear it straight from the wolf's mouth that they need help. And of course, Ranok being Ranok wasn't about to just come out and say it. And I mean, it is true, if he didn't know that the Vortigen wolves were planning on doing something bad in the forest, he probably would be less likely to want to help, but he knew what was up. Or he knew that something was happening. So it is good that Caelan decided to speak up. Anyways, what else? Also hilarious that they wanted to pimp out Caelan. I mean, you could do worse, I guess. Samuel seems to like it from the smoke room, so, it's not such a bad deal, Anyways, what else happened in the story? I'm trying to recap it, but I'm probably going to end up recapping it when I split it into episodes and then do each intro and outro for each episode. But I'm still going to do it now. Because, yeah. What else? I'm curious to know if before they leave, if the humans are going to try to contact Caelan, at least to figure out who he is and why he's hanging around with the wolf. Or at the very least, the young human. And I'm assuming since they come from the Broken Isles, which is where the Sorcery King lives, that they might at least have some, not information, but at least some knowledge as to why Caelan is able to be multilingual. Also, I'm also very curious as to why Ranok doesn't pick up on the fact that Caelan is multilingual. Like, why he doesn't just go like, wait a minute, there's something weird about you, human. You're able to speak Wolven, Tigiri, now Cat, apparently, and you probably speak Bunny. What else do you speak? And that might be a little weird. It's not normal. I mean, humans are, we do tend to want to pick up another language eventually. I speak Spanish. And I did take French. Which might explain why my Spanish sounds like I'm French. But yeah. Anyways, I also took Italian. Anyways, but yeah. Back to the thing at hand. So I'm assuming when they go pick up the papers from the magistrate that they might be intercepted at least, and somebody might want to talk to them, and they might not be able to leave immediately. And that would actually be kind of not a slap in the face, but kind of bad if they're like, no, you don't get to go with the wolf, you have to stay with us. And then Ranok's all like, well, okay, I tried, bye. Because it's a little too early to be celebrating that he's taking Caelan. Because at least one of the humans has taken an interest, and even though the rest of them haven't, it's still a little weird to just introduce humans that live in the area where the Sorcery King lives and then just not do anything with them. Okay? See where I'm going? So I'm being cautious right now. But other than that, I guess that's it. And I'm obviously gonna be, I'm not gonna be remembering things because I've been reading this for 4 hours. So if you remembered something that I forgot to point out, any little details like that, then just bring it up in the comments and we'll discuss it there. Also, Sloan. It was nice to see that a wolf can leave and make a life for themselves out there, that there are wolves that aren't just very strict in their dogma, like the Weeping Moons or the wolves within the forest itself, that there are wolves that leave of their own accord and, make a life for themselves outside. And that they ideally do not want to return because, life in the forest is bad. It's backwards, as it was put. And hopefully Ranok does realize that to some extent, where he says, you know what? Our tribe has to change, when he returns back to his father and Vither, which is an issue all in of itself. Where he's like, you know what? We have to change for the better. The only reason that that Strambard is allowing to trade with us is because we have a human here who basically did all the talking for us because I wasn't going to be able to do it. And we need him here. He's obviously strategically important. I can't talk anymore. So, yeah, stuff. And that he brings up the fact that wolves do leave on their own accord because they can't deal with what's going on in the forest anymore. It's too backwards compared to how it is outside now. I'm pretty sure Vol wasn't in on Caelan being dumped out in Strambard, because I think he would not have been able to keep it a secret. But Verissa might be a little like, you didn't leave him? You were supposed to leave him! And it'll be funny when she's like, oh, you're back. Yay. Oh, fuck. What happened? Did you guys ruin the thing? Is that why he's back? And then he's like, no, he facilitated everything. You're gonna get your meds. Also, weren't they supposed to get a knife for Verissa? That's what Caelan was planning to do. He was gonna find a knife, or better yet, an actual scalpel for her to use in surgery. So yeah, better do that before they, return. Come on, Kael. Stick to your plot. I'm just kidding. But yeah. What else? I'm trying to remember everything that happened, but at this point, I just want to drink some tea or something to help soothe my throat because it hurts so much right now. What else happened? Oh, the tiger that's selling you the clothes. That was funny. Yeah, I can't remember anything else. So yeah, if I forgot anything at this point, because this is going to be the last episode that goes out for this chapter, then write it down in the comments. So, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Far Beyond the World yourself, you can find it over on itch. But I can't post any links to it because, YouTube flagged it. So, I will post a link down for the Twitter page for Kael, which should have a direct link to Far Beyond the World and the Far Beyond the World Patreon, which I will post a link down in the description, where you can support the project and get early access to builds of Far Beyond the World before even I can get into them. Also, they have merch on Popper and Press, and they have a Discord. So, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episodes. Bye-bye.